Hi everyone, and welcome to the Creative Healers interview series. I'm Alison Palmer. I'm your host for the entire series. And today I'm really excited because we're talking with Meenu Mehrotra. Now, Meenu is the author of 6 books. She's a fiction writer, a poet, a blogger, an editor, and she's been associated with writing for the past 29 years. She's a certified archetypal consultant, certified NLP practitioner, intuitive coach, healer, a certified angel card reader, and she uses angel, tarot, and oracle cards to access messages from the angelic realm. She also uses the knowledge of archetypes as a healing modality, and I'm really excited because we are going to be talking about the magic of creativity and healing. So welcome, Meenu.
It's such a joy and a pleasure and an honor to be here in this space with you.
Well,
I've been really looking forward to this, yeah.
Well, this is wonderful because we've had a bit of difficulties connecting here, and the angelic realm is obviously working in our favor today. So here we are doing this.
Yes, truly. I think everything is meant to happen at the right time in the right place.
Yeah. So we're talking about the magic of creativity and healing. So I'd like to start with asking you, why do you believe that there is magic in these realms of creativity and healing?
I think if we talk of, we'll talk of creativity first. I think creativity is something that stems out from our soul, you know. It is not something that has to do only with the mind or the heart or the body. I think it goes beyond the 5 senses. It is multi-sensory. And I think we are all creative at the basic core as human beings. It's just that we are afraid to, use that in different aspects of our life or use that consistently in our daily lives. And I think any time that you create, whether you're a sculptor or a poet or a writer or anything that requires creating or creativity, I think there is a kind of surprise and wonder and the unknowingness of it from where the magic stems, because magic is all about when you don't know what you're getting into. It's like walking into a dark path and suddenly you see a light.
Wow, that's amazing. Can I just ask you something? Because you said something that really made me go ping inside, which was that many people are afraid to connect with their creativity. And I'd just love for you to say a little bit about that, because nobody has said that in this whole interview series. And I'm thinking, wow, yes, we haven't explored that. So we are actually afraid to connect to it.
Yes, we are. I think it is because I think as we start to grow up, and I think as we leave our childhood behind and we start to become adults, teenagers and adults, I think as somewhere the child in us just starts to get very quiet, and it is a social and moral conditioning as well, because you're supposed to grow up, you are supposed to be responsible. And somewhere we lose our wonder and that innocence and that fearlessness that a child always has. They're not afraid to make mistakes. They're not afraid to explore something different. I was just watching a TEDx video some days back in which they say that, because as we grow into adults, we stop being a child, and then the creativity we just use 2% or 1% of it as fully grown adults, while the children, when they are younger, they use almost 100% of it. So it's so very important to be connected to the child within you. And, because creativity stems from that part of you, which is innocent, which is ready to, embrace the wonders that creativity brings with it. And you're not, your mind is not conditioned in a certain way. What will someone say? Or can I do this? Or can I do? There is no doubt or question or self or second guessing yourself. I think creativity stems from there. I think that as we grow up, we lose that as adults because we are conditioned to behave in a certain way, talk in a certain way, and, act in a certain way. I think there that is where we lose it.
I think that's so true. And that percentage figure is staggering, that we use 1 to 2% only of that
Yeah.
creative force.
We stop using it, yeah. Which
Yeah,
is sad, actually, which is sad.
it's
It
truly
is.
sad. And the other thing that really struck me as you were speaking was, you know that most parents say to their child at some point, and then it just goes on and on and on throughout our adult life, don't be so childish. Don't be
Yes,
so childish.
yes,
And I think that impacts us really significantly, because if our creativity is located in those qualities of being our child, connecting to
yes.
our child, and we've got this layer of messaging telling us, don't be childish, it's really impacting so
I
strongly.
think it does, and I think somewhere it stifles it and kills it as well. Because I think in our therapies also, I mean, if I mean, I speak to people, and being a therapist or a healer myself, I think somewhere at the core of every healing process is the core of getting connected to this child in you, because that is where we lose it.
Mm.
And I think that is where it is connected to healing, because we cannot heal till the time we go into a realm where we just let go, and we let go of everything that has been stopping us or obstructing us, or as the layers, as you call it. So we have to keep shedding each layer as a human or as a soul as we heal, to get to the core of who we are. Because at the end of the day, we are not our fears, we are not our accomplishments, we are not our past, we are not our future. We are what we were born as, and what our soul incarnated as. And that is from where the healing would begin. Otherwise, if there are so many layers on layers, I mean, you have to unleash every part, every mask that you've put on yourself as you've grown into an adult. The healing will stem from there. I don't think it can stem from the superficial part of you. It has to stem from the most authentic part of you, which is the inside.
And I mean, I know that some of your poetry really addresses the issue of pain. For example, your poetry is just amazing. And I know that you really invite us to go into facing our pain. So is that what you're talking about here? Because a lot of people don't associate creativity with pain. Probably, they just want to have the fun, but they don't want to do the pain. So why do we really?
But I think pain is a very integral part of just being human. I think it is a part of growing up. It is a part of discovering yourself. I think people happiness can never teach you anything, to tell you very honestly. It is only through pain and suffering that we actually grow as humans. A child cannot be born out of a woman if there are no labor pangs. The labor pangs are the waves, or are the steps that take you closer to the birth of your child. So, you cannot say that, what, I want the kid, but I want the child, but I don't want to go through the pain, So just look at the organic way in which nature works. So, like they say, pain is optional, suffering is optional, pain is inevitable. So what you do with the pain, I mean, how do you transform it into another energy that can help you fuel your creativity, fuel the healing inside you?
Yeah.
I think pain is something that has not to be, it's not something that has to be sort of bragged about. I think it's a very intrinsic part of who you are. It's like two sides of the joy and sorrow are the two sides of the same coin. You can't separate them.
Yes, I love that actually, because we all want to just be happy all the time and be in joy all the time. But if we were, we wouldn't know we were, because there'd be nothing to measure it against. It would just be, maybe we'd be happy. We'd just be happy, but we'd be moaning about being happy because we wouldn't realize that we weren't in pain. There'd be no contrast.
It would be such a one-dimensional way to live.
Yes.
I mean, how do you get into the layers of things? Is only when you face disappointment and disgust and pain. And, one thing that I have learned over a period of time is that, disgust, pain, disappointment, when you're at your most humiliated self, that is when you are the closest to the divine, you know. That is where all the pathways open, because you understand what is happening with you. Otherwise, you wouldn't.
Yeah.
Otherwise you wouldn't know what's happening. If there were only positive, affirming or empowering emotions you were going through, we cannot understand.
Yeah, I love that. And what I'm thinking is how, I want to get onto the archetypes in a minute, but just what you've said then is so relevant to people in business, those of us who are taking our creativity and our desire to help other people out into the world as businesses. We want to think, we want to imagine that past a certain level, it's all, this initial difficulty of starting, and then it's all going to just pan out in that joy kind of sphere. And what you're reminding us really strongly and powerfully in business, in life, we're going to face our pains. We're going to undo our layers, and in that process, face the pain. And like you say, so you said it so beautifully, it's in those moments of pain and discouragement and humiliation that we connect most strongly with the divine, and all those spiritual pathways, all those pathways open. You said that so beautifully. You really just are a poet.
Thanks. I mean, that is something that, Caroline Mace, my teacher, talks about. And I think that only in these moments of extreme, defeat and pain is when we are actually able to identify what we really want, or what is it that we really are looking. Because unless, like they say, it is important to know what do you want in life, but the more important thing is to know what is it that you don't want. And most of the people don't even know what they don't want.
True. It's superficial, that, until we hit that pain, we stay in the superficial. I don't want this, I don't want that, I think I want that. But when we hit the pain, you're so right. So
once we know what is it we don't want, I think only then that we get access to what we want. I mean, I've experienced that in my life personally also, and with people also. It's very important to know this question. And it is, I think, one of the toughest things, that we sort of, it's a journey. It's a very tough journey to know what it is you don't want. There's so many things that we know we want, and we can make a whole list of it. But, to know that what is it that I don't want is something that people need to sort of introspect and keep asking themselves all the time.
That's such a great thing that we can do. So let's move on to the archetypes, because I know you work with the archetypes. So tell us more about them and how they work as a healing modality.
Archetypes are basically the soul DNA. It's like a code we can have access to, which can help us understand ourselves better, because it is basically a trigger for your personality, your likes, dislikes, your beliefs. And, why do you behave in a certain way? Why do you talk in a certain way? Why do you have these kind of beliefs? All it can be indicated by the knowledge of archetypes. So all of us have 12 archetypes. Each person has 12 archetypes, and 4 of them are survival archetypes, which are common to all people. So that's the child, the victim, the saboteur, and the prostitute. Okay. So these are the 4 archetypes that actually help you grow and empower yourself to a very, very high degree. So knowing, once you have an idea or an indication of what these archetypes are doing to you, or how they are influencing your behavior, whether it is personal relationships or professional relationships, it can help you understand yourself in a much better way, and understand the people around you in a better way. So I use the knowledge of archetypes I have when I'm healing people. In fact, I use archetype cards with oracle cards in order to do a reading. So it gives you a fair idea of, what archetype is getting, is brewing in you, or getting, it's influencing you in a major way. So you can have a look at it and, readjust yourself accordingly, because there is a light and shadow side of an archetype. So once you know the shadow, you can bring it into light because they're neutral.
So how do we do that? How do we bring the shadow into light in that regard using the archetype?
See, it is basically at the end of it, it is, what I do is once you know the 12 archetypes of the person, there is a procedure to find out.
Mm-hmm.
It's a long drawn out procedure. And then you cast a natal chart in which you put each archetype in each house, 12 astrological houses. So say you have a victim in the first house, which is the house Aries, which is the house of identity or persona. I am. So what is the energy that you bring into a room when you enter a room? So if you have a victim there, that means you bring the victim energy with you the moment you step inside any place. Because you are asking for, you know how a victim would be. A victim would ask for attention. He would want people to look at him. And he has this whole body language, and even the way he speaks would be screaming, I'm a victim, you know. And then once you identify that you are a victim, suppose, you can convert it. Victim has to be made victorious. So it is not about you being a victim. It is about how you victimize others as well.
Oh, yes. So it's like the mirror is present in that whole dynamic.
So once you know, if suppose you have a queen there, mm-hmm. So the energy that you bring is one of being very generous and being very, well presented and very confident and very empowering. That is what a queen is supposed to do. And the queen has a queendom. So you carry this air around you, whereas if you own the place, you know, that's a light side of it. The shadow side may be that you also put walls around you where people cannot access you so generously. So once you know what the shadow is, you can bring it into light. Mm. And you are aware of what is the light and what is the shadow, and how you can use it better to have more authentic, genuine and meaningful relationships around you, and know yourself well.
Yeah, I really love this because it seems like it's entering into that childlike playfulness again. I feel it's
like knowing yourself all over again. I mean, when I did it, I was like a kid. I used to do my class and I used to discuss it with my kids. My kids know everything about it because they heard me rant about it. Or this is what I learned in the class today. And it was like I sort of discovered myself all over again. In my 40s. I mean, it is so fascinating. I can see archetypes all over now. I can see it in people. I see when they talk it, and I can see it in myself so clearly. Like I can see, this is the child in me talking. Okay, so I need to be careful. So you become very aware of who you are.
Yeah.
And I think healing and creativity stems from knowing, being in the moment, being in the here and now, and being mindful.
Yeah, I like that because you said it makes you very aware of who you are in any moment. And that bringing us back to the present moment is so critical because creatives, we often, especially, we've got all these ideas going off and we're saying, I could do this, I could do that, I could do that. Yes. And we project into the future, and we can spend a lot of time projecting into the future, taking us away from the here and now, and not actually anchoring ourselves to our concrete reality and doing things like not acting upon that creative impulse that is within, not selecting one project to actually move forward with, but always looking forward and not being present. And what you're actually reminding us here is how the archetypes can hold us, can bring us back to our conscious awareness of where we are right now in any moment, and connect to our creativity.
Exactly. And I think it's very important to, not lose that, because creativity you cannot be creative 24/7. It doesn't happen. There are, it is like a, spurts, or, when you get the inspiration and, it dawns on you and you have to create at that point. I mean, I can't write a poem if you tell me, Meenu, okay, write a poem on this topic by 5 o'clock today or 10 o'clock today. I won't be able to function like that. It is when I feel something, I have to write it. Whether it is 12 in the night or 2 in the night, whether I'm sleeping or I'm awake or whatever hits me, it has to be born at that moment. And if we let that moment pass, I think that is where it suffers, because it is all about the here and now.
Yeah.
Creativity is all about the here. I think healing is also in that part, in that context. If we talk about creativity and healing is also supposed to be the here and now. When we know that it is the time and we have to take this step or walk this path, and we can't sort of prepone it or postpone it and, procrastinate over it and say, okay, you know what, I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
That thing will be gone. That moment will be lost, I think.
I think that's just one of the most powerful points, the importance of being aware of that inner impulse, that whatever it is that's coming to us, whether it's about creativity, whether it's about healing. Certainly, if it's about bringing those elements into your business and then actually acting upon them without, you mentioned earlier, without going into second guessing, which we're all like real experts at second guessing ourselves.
I think our culture, as culturally how we are brought up, or, because I think, we do not work so much from our intuition as we work more from our mind and ego. So, being intuitive is all about being in the here and now and just doing it. You don't question it. If I am asked to do something, my inner guidance is telling me, do this, you do it. And they say, don't do it, you don't do it. But because it's a whisper, it doesn't speak loud, it doesn't scream. We tend to ignore it.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of people suffering because they don't listen to their intuition. They know everything. See, we all know. We know all the answers. We know what we are supposed to do. But then a healer is here to just remind you of that.
Yeah.
But we all know it. But people don't listen to their intuition. It's very, I find it very, I'm quite agitated by it, angry by it now, because you have people who know how to, they have been told the answers, but they don't listen.
Mm-hmm. And yet it is hard to actually pay attention to it. I find for myself, I actually actively ask for the grace to be able to hear and accept, the divine wisdom that is going to be imparted to me, and then to take action upon it. I actually do consciously, ask for that. And yet sometimes still, my head starts to dominate and tells me, no, that's a ridiculous thing to do. Or I go into, overdrive with, I've got so much to do. I need to really plow through this. And I'll come back to that little whisper later on. and then, you don't. And so I think it is hard because, like you say, we have been conditioned. And there's so much we could explore about that. But I wonder, just taking liberty with your time really, but I wonder if you could just give us one idea of how we could perhaps more consciously be aware of what our intuition is telling us.
I think it is I think it is very important to meditate daily, because when you go into that space every day and you are still with yourself, and because intuition or the inner guidance only comes when you are still. If you have 150 things running in your mind, you will not be able to hear that, because it is like, driving through a road which is traffic infested. So, you would not be able to pick up speed. There will not be a smooth flow because you're stopping and, there is too much traffic. The intuitive hits that you get, or the inner guidance, only comes when everything is clear. When it's a clear path. It hits you, and it hits you at a speed at which you will just know that, it's like dumb, and you got it. And you just know it.
Yeah.
So how do you know it? Only when you have a still mind. And how do you have a still mind? when you have a busy day throughout and you don't have time for, you have to take up time for yourself and meditate. Or maybe just be with yourself for at least 15-20 minutes where there is no one disturbing you. You are with your own thoughts. You are with your own fears and doubts and whatever has gone through the day. And I mean, Caroline has told us such an amazing exercise that we do, that I do every day, is that you sit with yourself and you ask yourself, what did I do today that served my soul? Just ask yourself that question. And what did I do today that turned me off center, that shook me up? Just these two questions, if you ask yourself, you will know throughout the day, what, I did my exercise, that served me. I did not spend time with the kids, that threw me off center. So you are answering your questions yourself. It is just about reflection at the end of the day, and that you don't carry it to the next day, so that everything is sorted before you go to bed. Your mind is at peace, you're calm. And then your vibration is at a higher level. And then your mind and you free up that space inside you so that the divine can talk to you. How will the divine talk to you in this clutter? It can't. You need to have that stillness. So meditation is very important. I think spending just time with yourself and,
fantastic. Yeah, that's really, really great advice. And I find for myself as well that since I started meditating every day, it's made a huge difference to my life. And we're all very busy and we can all find some time to do it. So
yes, we can. Yeah. I think if you cannot give, like they say, in 24 hours, if you can't give 1 hour to your body and soul, I mean, you might as well not be alive, because you have to give the time to yourself. There are no excuses, It's like a machine. You have to keep oiling it, and it's like how you maintain your car. You have to maintain yourself as well.
It's so true. So Meenu, I know that you have got a free gift to share with people, and this I think will support people as well. So would you like to tell us a little bit about
that? I just made a list of about 11 very empowering soul prayers, which are really very soul stirring and very powerful. And I think you can use these prayers anytime, and just take out the sheet or get it printed and use it anytime. And it will really help you, find your center and, ground you. Because at the time when we are going through something very overwhelming or through a crisis, we forget to pray because we are so focused on the problem, focused on what is going to happen, that we forget that at the end of the day, we have to ground ourselves more deeply. In fact, that is the time when we need to ground ourselves even more deeply, because there is a crisis or there is a overwhelming situation or whatever. And, pray. Prayers can do wonders. And I think in my small, humble attempt, I think it would help out people, to just pray. And people have stopped praying. And I help people out when I do my sessions. Also, I help them create their own soul prayers, because prayers which stem from your own soul, which are only relevant to you. It's not asking in general, and just asking for guidance, And so that is what my free gift is.
That's so beautiful. And everybody, you can get hold of this using the link on this page. So do make sure you do that. Meenu, I want to say a massive thank you for coming and talking about this. It's been really wonderful. Really, I feel like we've gone on a really deep path.
Yes.
And like this is the energy I'm getting. And it feels really grounding. And it's kind of alluring. It's kind of pulling the energy into wanting to explore it more, and to see where we go with this whole process. So I love it. So thank you so much.
I loved it too. It was amazing talking to you, and it's always a joy talking to you, Alison. It's been such an honor. It's been such an honor.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you. And everybody, thank you as well for joining us today. Don't forget to get hold of the free gift from Meenu. And also, if you want to send me an email telling me, what you got from this brilliant interview, if there's anything that you're going to take up and do in your life, if it's made a little difference to you, do let me know, because I love to hear from you, and I can pass it on to Meenu as well.
That'll be great. That'll be really great.
Yeah. So thank you everybody again.
Yeah.
And I'm Alison Palmer, and this is the Creative Healers interview series. So do join us for the other interviews in the series. Okay, bye for now.